So when I was driving out to the trail today, I had an idea of a topic I wanted to discuss, and I had it all planned out in my head. I knew what I wanted to talk about. I had the idea. Like I was in a flow state, and I saw a truck that just changed everything that I wanted to talk about today. And it's funny because the truck that I saw that made me want to change the topic was actually a porta shitter pumper. The truck that goes and pumps out your septic tanks or your holding tanks on your boat or maybe even an RV, right? Pumps out all of your sewage. But this wasn't any porta shitter pumper truck that I've seen. This thing was a full-on Kenworth. This was probably a $350,000 to $500,000 truck. And it just got me thinking, this guy, this company, somebody at some point in time went and spent at least $500,000 on this truck. I mean, this was a full-blown semi. And it was used, or its only use, its primary use, is to pump people's shit. To pump people's waste. And I remember a conversation that I had when I was in the military when we were talking about getting out. A couple of buddies and I we were sitting around and we had a conversation about what we were going to do when we got out, when we were finished with our enlistments. And I remember telling these guys that I didn't care what the job was going to be. I didn't care what the job that I did was. All I knew was I was going to make as much money as I possibly could, even if I had to pump shitters, even if I had to pump porta shitters. It was going to be the cleanest, the nicest porta shitter that you ever sat in, and I was going to get paid top dollar to do it. Now, fortunately for me, that one didn't happen. However, when I got out of the military, I did go back into plumbing. So, in a roundabout way, I was still playing with other people's, with human waste. And I used to get it all the time, better you than me. There's no way. You couldn't pay me enough to do that, to fix people's plumbing, to fix people's toilets, that kind of stuff. I used to get that stuff all the time until it came time for me to give somebody a bill, right? They'll call the plumber. They'll say that I'm not gonna do that, but people don't want to pay for it. So welcome back to another episode of Sweat Talk. My name is Chad. So the system is designed to keep us sick, broke, tired, and scared. But I can tell you, for a long time ago, that conversation that I had, it was eye-opening for me. Just a simple everyday conversation that I paid attention to, and somehow it's managed to stick with me for probably 25 years. Now, I don't remember a lot from 25 years ago, but for some reason, that one conversation stuck with me. And I think it stuck with me because it was an eye-opener to the fact that our system is broke. The system is designed to keep us down. And at that moment in time, I knew for a fact there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to do whatever it took to find the success that I want in my life. I knew that I was going to do whatever it took to find the financial independence and the financial freedom, the financial fortitude and backing that I wanted in my life. I was probably 22 years old. I was 21, 22 years old, and even at that young age, I knew and I understood that the system was designed to keep me sick and broken, tired, and scared. And I knew for sure that I wasn't going to lay down for it. I wasn't going to conform to the societal norms and the societal expectations that had been placed on me for my entire life up to that point. I wasn't going to do it. And even still to this day, I still will not lay down and conform to the societal norms and expectations of average. It's not going to happen. Because if you think about this, everything that we consume, the food, we're told that the food that we eat is perfectly fine or it's perfectly healthy. Meanwhile, we have mental illness. It's increasing across society at an alarming rate. Big Pharma, we're told that there's a medication for everything. Meanwhile, there is no such thing as actually curing a disease anymore, and we just lay down and take it as fact. Hello. The news that we watch, nonstop, or I should say just the TV in general. It's nonstop programming. It's programming our minds to be scared, to be broke. Think about the financial aspects of what we see on the TV and how these sales tactics influence us, because the smartest psychologist in the world, or the highest paid psychologist in the world, they're not the doctor that you're going to go sit down in the office with. The Harvard grads, they're the ones that are figuring out how to manipulate your mind. They're the ones that are figuring out how to better sell you something and how to better program your mind. And that is the shit that we consume every single day. We turn on the shows like the Kardashians, and you watch that trash. So then you think that what's her name? Kim Kardashian. She's got the latest and greatest Louis Vuitton purse, or she's got the latest supercar or hypercar, driving around in a Bentley, whatever. And then we think that we're inadequate because we don't have that. Big Pharma, they try to convince us that if we don't get some stupid vaccine, then the whole world is going to end and we're all going to die, even though they could potentially find a cure for half of these ailments, but they don't. Instead, they continue to give us vaccines and treatments. I read a statistic a while back where 20% of all medication that Big Pharma produces actually treats the disease itself. And then the other 80% of all medications are to treat the side effects of those medications. Think about that business model for a second. You have repeat customers for life. You give them a vaccine, you give them some pills, and nonstop, these people are coming back for more for the rest of their lives. They're on this medication forever. And then we don't question it. We don't question the fact that Big Pharma has a monopoly over us and that the government is involved or potentially involved. People walk around and they thump their chest and they say the big corporation is the problem, and then they go get that needle stuck in their arm, and for some reason, automatically now, these people are your friend or they're in it for you. I mentioned Elon Musk the other day. You would not believe the amount of people that got pissed off and unsubscribed because I mentioned Elon Musk, and that what he's accomplished in his life is admirable because of the garbage that they consume. The big black box that's bolted to the wall with the talking heads in it told them that Elon Musk is a bad person, completely ignoring what that man has actually accomplished and what he's done for the world. Not just the country, not just for himself, but for the entire world. Every time we turn around, we're constantly getting bombarded with things that we don't need and we think that we do. When was the last time you saw a commercial for a couch or a refrigerator or a dishwasher? You don't see those. Those commercials, I'm sure they do exist, but you don't see that hardly ever because they want you to stay broke. They want you to buy that garbage that you don't know, that you don't need. They want to make you feel like you need that garbage. Now, you don't necessarily need a dishwasher, but you do need a refrigerator. You need some way to keep your food fresh, right? You definitely don't need that $500 purse. You definitely don't need that $500 pair of shoes. I'm a shoe snob too, believe me. As much as I like to hike and I like to run and be outdoors, I love nice shoes. I buy nice shoes. But I look at my tools, I look at my shoes as tools, right? Because I come out here and they're necessary. But all this to say is we're being programmed every single day, and we don't even realize it. We think that it's just business as usual. Every day is just another day where we're scared, because when we're scared, we're not going to fight. If we look at people who actually are trained in fighting, then we'll know that when they get in a fight, they're able to keep their cool. They don't get pissed off, they don't get angry, and then they also don't get scared. They're able to maintain their cool. And through training, they're able to maintain their cool because they know that if they let their emotions get involved, it's over. They're not going to have the clarity of mind that it takes in order to win that fight. And the same thing goes for everyday life. The more confused we are, the more terrified or scared we are, the more pissed off we are, the more broke we are, the more tired we are. All of that adds up to something. All of that adds up to us not thinking clearly. It all adds up to us believing that we need a whole bunch of shit that we don't actually need. Now, it's one thing to support a brand. We all have brand loyalty, I think. My favorite hiking shoes, for example, are Nikes. That's the brand that I found that works the best for me. They always fit my feet. They're always extremely comfortable, and I've tried deviating away from them, but they just, for whatever reason, they don't work for me. You know, my vehicles, for the longest time, the only vehicles I would buy was Toyota. For the longest time, it was either old school Chevys or brand new Toyotas. And it was for a reason, because I knew that my old Chevy, I knew that it was potentially going to give me problems. But then when I wanted a daily driver that was reliable, Toyota, for the longest time, was the go-to for that. Anymore, yeah, number one, I'm not buying a new vehicle ever again, unless I've got more money than I know what to do with. And number two, Toyota and Nissan have both just completely shit the bed when it comes to vehicles. There's no such thing as a reliable new car anymore. But some of us will still go and we'll buy that fancy new car, even though we look it up on YouTube and people are like, oh man, this thing's gonna blow up. I wouldn't buy it. Somebody's still gonna run out and pick it up. And it's because of brand loyalty. It's because they want to believe that they're the exception. So what I'm getting at is things like Big Pharma. They're going to benefit from keeping us sick. They're going to make billions and billions and billions, maybe even trillions of dollars off of each one of us every single year because of our sickness. You know, the government, they're going to benefit from keeping us scared. They're going to benefit from keeping us angry. If we're angry at each other, if we're angry at what we see, and if we're afraid, then we're not going to act rational. Therefore, we're not going to stand together and fight against the exact system that the Constitution says is not supposed to exist. These major corporations, all this marketing that we see just about every day of our lives, well, every day of our lives, just about every minute of our lives, I should say, they're going to benefit from keeping us broke. I mean, how easy is it to go out and borrow $10,000? Go get a $10,000 credit card. Pretty much anybody can do that. Go finance a $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 car. Pretty much anybody can do that as well. So that's what we do. We think like when we go to go car shopping, we go car payment shopping. We don't shop for the end price. We just look at what we can afford per the month. And then we go to that corporate job that we hate, and we bought that car so that we can comfortably commute because we deserve it. You know, it's not that we earned it, it's that we deserve it, right? Because when you finance something, then you're earning it. And you're also making that bank, or you're making that corporation more and more wealthy as you get more and more broke. So you see, the system is designed to keep us down. But we need to wake up and realize that the system is against us. The system is designed to keep us down. But it's not just me. It's also you. It's every one of you. The system is designed how it's designed, and the system works how it works for a reason. I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe that all of a sudden, you know, the entire world is falling apart. When I turn on the news, I've seen that our economy is shrinking. Well, I don't think that's a bad thing. From my point of view, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And that means that people are spending less money. That means that people are finally beginning to wake up from my point of view. Yeah, there's people that are going to lose their jobs because of it, but there's always another job out there. And most people that are working those jobs, they hate their job, but they feel safe and they feel secure. So even when the writing is on the wall, we'll still show up and we'll still go to that job and work for that employer that we absolutely can't stand, sitting in that commute that we freaking hate, dealing with that boss that's an ungrateful asshole, and some greedy CEO or top dog of the company. And we just lay down and take it. And we take it because we back ourselves into a corner because we are sick, tired, scared, and angry. And I refuse to live my life like that. There's no way I am going to conform to that. It's not going to happen. And I hope that enough of you guys are actually starting to wake up and realize that, yeah, the system is rigged. But because you know it's rigged, if you look at how it's rigged, then the system will not be able to beat you. The system cannot win if you don't let it. So are you awake? Are you going to let that system win? Or are you going to step back and are you going to look that system in the eyes, stand tall, keep your mind, body, and soul in alignment with your purpose and win? So are you going to stand up and stay calm, cool, and collective, where your mental capabilities and your mental acuity is going to perform at its optimal level? Are you ready to put down that garbage food that's clouding your mind? Are you willing to stop watching that shit that's on TV, the social media, the trash that's nonstop being shoved down our throats that we're consuming every single day that's keeping us sick, tired, weak, angry, and scared. I, for one, I refuse. I will not conform. If you made it this far, do me a favor and go down in the comments section and write those words, I will not conform. That's it. Just those words, I will not conform. We need to band together, and we need to come together and stop fighting one another. We need to start getting back to loving one another and understanding that kindness is only weakness if we allow it to be. We are only weak, sick, tired, scared, broke, and afraid because we allowed the system to do that to us. But we are able to stand up with our chest out, our shoulders back, and be proud of who we are and what we're all about. As soon as we are able to wake up and realize that the system is rigged, as soon as we are able to go at this and understand the brainwashing and the programming that we've endured our entire lives. You know, as you turn on the news, pull up a YouTube app, whatever, and all you see is this: the world is broken, the American dream is dead, and people like to say that the American dream is only alive and well for the wealthy, and that's complete and utter horseshit. It's alive for every single one of us. There is not a better time to be alive than there is right now. There is no easier time than right now to become wealthy. We have to get off our asses and we have to look at the system and understand the brainwashing and get through it, man. And we can do it. We just have to stick together and we have to realize what is being done to us. So I asked for these comments because they do a couple of things. Number one, they help us reprogram our subconscious mind to where we can believe in ourselves enough to stand up and fight back against that system that's rigged against us. We're able to reprogram our subconscious mind because when we see something over and over and over, then there's power in that. And that's how we're going to go deep into our subconscious mind. And then the next thing it does is it helps the channel grow, because every time somebody likes, comments, and subscribes, then the algorithm sees that and it's going to be more likely to push this content out to somebody else who might find value in it as well. So that's all I got for today, guys. I want to thank you guys for those super thanks that you've been giving me, and it truly means the world to me. And I appreciate your generosity. I appreciate each and every one of you for all of the support that you've been showing up. And I want to thank you guys for showing up. I hope you guys are showing up for yourselves. And I hope that each and every one of you has a wonderful day. Peace.